Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Unknown Hobo. As always, I'm your host, Forever Confused Marlon. And this is a topic that was actually requested by someone I know. So because this channel is focused on self-improvement or podcast, whatever you want to call it, we wanted to, or well, me, because I'm the only person that does this editing and recording and everything else, wanted to talk about different aspects of self-improvement. For right now, I'm going to hit the one thing that affects my life the most, and it probably will affect a lot of people's life also. And that's going to be meal planning. So when you are in the process of physically improving yourself, whether you want to gain muscle, lose fat, gain an extra tarantula, whatever it may be, meal planning is going to come into play. So for example purposes, let's say if you want to get abs, there's no such thing as targeted weight loss. Overall, if you're losing weight, your body loses weight everywhere. And depending on your anatomy or whatever it may be, you might lose weight in different places in comparison to your friend or even your mom or even your dad. You'll lose weight in different spots overall, depending on your actual genes overall. But you still need to either be in a calorie deficit or calorie surplus. So first, let's keep everything super simple before I start giving recommendations for where to go and what type of information you need overall. Let's cover what you need to understand overall. So over the internet or on the internet, you'll see a ton of information when it comes to someone trying to lose weight, gain muscle, lose muscle, whatever it may be. And it gets very convoluted, very complex. So a lot of times you might see someone saying you need to get a bunch of vitamins. You need to make sure your protein intake's good. You need to make sure this is good. You need to make sure that is good. You make sure that's all cool. Yes, those are all very important things. The three most important supplements is caffeine, creatine, and protein. Those are like the three biggest things you need. And well, and pre-workout if you want to. These are the things that'll affect the most when you're in your workout journey or whatever it may be. We'll ignore that for now. First, let's talk about your goals. So if your goal is to gain weight, you need to be in a calorie surplus. So what a calorie surplus is, to make everything simpler, just in case some of you people might know, some of you might not. This is just to keep things super simple. A calorie surplus is you need to be able to see whatever your calorie amount is for that day or for that week, and you need to add a little bit extra on top. The way you figure out what your calorie is, or at least a general idea of it, is this thing called a TDEE calculator. If you just go on Google and type in TDEE calculator, just click the first link. Generally, all you do is you put in your weight, your age, your height. If you know your body fat percentage, you can, because they have 3 different types of metrics. Ignore that part. But generally, just use the first one, put your weight, your height in. And if you know your body fat percentage, go for it. If you don't know your body fat percentage, that is perfectly fine. A lot of them, it's an option. So height, weight, and age. That's it. And then they're going to ask you for your activity level. So if you're someone like me that has a general desk job, you put sedentary or small activity level. But because I go to the gym, my activity level is a little bit higher. It's super simple. It's normally 4 questions, and it gives you a general idea of what your calories are currently or what you need to maintain your current weight. And then it gives you the option of how much you should reduce or increase, which is a calorie surplus, so you gain more weight. Now, on the opposite side of a calorie surplus, you have a calorie deficit, which is the opposite reason. You want to lose weight. So same thing, TDE calculator, you put your information in, and then it tells you generally how much calories you need to reduce by to lose weight. Wherever you go does not tell you the amount that you need to take. A good rule of thumb to make everything super easy is around 200 to 500 calories is what you can reduce by. I'm just going to give you the recommendations as we go along. I'm going to reiterate them at the end to make everything simpler, especially if you're someone like me or if you're some random person that jumps around. So if you need to figure out what your calories are of the things you're eating, especially if it's something you don't even pay attention to, you can always use the app MyFitnessPal. I'm not sponsored by any of these, by the way. I wish I was. But you can use MyFitnessPal. They have other ones you can use, but MyFitnessPal is one of the most popular ones. I use MyFitnessPal, and it's super simple because I can just scan barcodes or put information in later, because I eat like 6 to 8 eggs a day, which is horrible, or tofu. I kind of swap them. But it gives you an idea of the calories that you need to take. Now, we figured out how to calculate your calorie intake, and we figured out how to track your calories overall. We have to figure out what you need to eat. So if you're not really sure what to eat to get to your specific amount of calories, because a lot of those TDE calculators gives you a percentage of amount of fats, proteins, or carbs you need to eat. Literally, all you need to do is there's this another website or app called Eat This Much, which is literally eat. So EATISMUCH. Eat This Much. Well, wait. I just misspelled that. You know how to spell the word this. THIS. So EATTHISMUCH.com. And they actually have an app for it. I use it actually also. All you do is just put your information in, make an account. And they have this thing where it's like you generate your day's worth of food. Me, because I only buy enough groceries for 1 week at a time, I just eat the same thing for a whole week over and over again. If you're not that type of person, you can just rotate every single day and go from there. Super simple. So right now, as I said, we have how to track your calories, how to find out what your calories is, and now you have a way of figuring out what you need to eat if you want to make everything a little bit easier for you. Super, super simple. That's meal planning. Now, it sounds simple, but, well, I say super, super simple. It's super, super simple to set things up, but keeping to this, that's the big issue. Now, I'm going to share with you some advice that I've heard from a few of the people that I listen to. One of them is like Greg Doucette, and one of them is Derek from More Plates, More Dates. If you're in bodybuilding world like me, you're going to come across their names. There's a few other people there, like Jeff Nippard and Jeff Cavalier. All of them, they're all really amazing. They all give you different views on bodybuilding overall, but I would definitely check all their channels out because they all have different views and a lot of the information is very, very good. So I can't remember which one. I think it was Coach Greg. Pretty much says if you want to enter into a weight loss world, don't instantly go start tracking your calories, reducing what you eat and everything else. Don't do that, especially if you don't work out anyways. He said what you can pretty much do off the bat is just add 30 minutes of cardio every day. Doesn't have to be high impact. And what high impact cardio is running, jumping jacks, anything that would be like a shock or like requires a ton of energy to go through. He said just light cardio. So walking. If you have a bike, just go for a bike ride, because bike rides are actually it's not high intent. It is high intensity, but it's not high impact. Whereas jumping is, and running, because you're putting all this weight on your joints instead. Jogging's horrible. Do not jog. Jogging is apparently one of the worst things you can do because you're leaving all your weight on one leg for an extended period of time. At least running, you're kind of using momentum. Jogging, there's no momentum. So it's like every step, woo, all my weight, woo. So walking, riding a bike, something very light, 30 minutes, do that every single day. And if you get in the habit of doing that, you build on top of it. Because same thing with this podcast and the same thing a lot of these coaches talk about, everything requires small baby steps to work up to them overall. So the next thing you can do, which actually I think a lot of this stuff is actually from Coach Greg. And the other one says stuff simple, but Coach Greg says a lot of this stuff and it's actually super great. So the next thing you pretty much do overall is track what you already eat. Now, of course, you can go to meal planning, go to do this, go to do that. But instead of doing a complete swap of your diet, track what you already eat currently and see how you can maybe reduce that intake. Don't do week 1. Maybe not week 2, maybe week 3, maybe a month. Track what you're eating for a month on MyFitnessPal. If you go over calories, that's not a big deal. It's cool. If you go under calories, it's not a big deal. The premise is figure out what your current eating habits are and see if you can maybe make adjustments to whatever it is that you're currently doing. So for me, for example, I am addicted to eating gummy bears or any sort of candy in existence, minus chocolate. Chocolate's whatever. Because I know that I actually purposely avoid buying candy at all. So everyone that knows me, they actually get me candy as gifts because they know I don't buy candy myself. Or if I do eat candy, it's never at home. So right now where I live, no candy at all, at least not any that I purchased myself. So that's my solution overall. You figure out whatever it is for you. If you're addicted to, I don't know, pancakes, just don't buy, well, pancakes are low calorie, but pancakes, just don't buy pancake mix anymore. Just little small things. But once you go through the habit of adding 30 minutes of cardio, you start tracking what you're already eating. And if you start reducing what you already have, if you come to the point where you're like, okay, this is a good thing, I need to adjust this so I can maybe get more protein, which protein, for everyone that doesn't know, protein is what helps build your muscles. Because protein synthesis, which is a process of your muscles being rebuilt, will breaking down and being built and becoming bigger and stronger. The more protein you have, generally, the rule of thumb is 0.5 to 1 gram of protein per body weight. So if you are, which I think I got this information from Jeff Nippard. I listen to all these guys, so it's a lot of information. So if you are in a calorie surplus, you actually don't need to purposefully increase your protein intake, because since you're in a surplus already, chances are you're already eating way more than enough protein. So you're fine. Generally, you can actually go in at maybe a little bit of a protein deficit, because generally you're going to be eating a lot more. So you're probably going to get protein no matter what. So you don't really need to track it as meticulously. Now, if you're in a calorie deficit, which is what I'm in, I need to make sure I eat excess protein. And the reason why is because as you're losing weight, protein or your muscle is still energy overall, fat's still energy, and it's going to use it. So for me to sustain or keep as much muscle as possible, I need to make sure I have an excess amount of protein in my system. So if fat's not being used for energy and it starts using muscle or whatever it may be, I have enough protein to replace that. So if you're in a calorie deficit, you definitely want to bump up your calorie intake past that 0.5, maybe 0.8, whatever it may be. But if you're in a calorie surplus, where you're already eating a ton of extra food, you're more than likely going to be way over your intake anyway. So you can bump it down closer to that 0.5. Now, these are only parameters that work for generally obese people, not morbidly obese or anything like that. If you're morbidly obese or anything in that realm, a lot of this information doesn't really apply to you, because 1 to 1 or 0.1 is if you're like 300-400 pounds, that is a insane amount of protein, and you don't need that. You can go on your lean body mass, which what your lean body mass is for people I don't know. Your lean body mass is generally what your body is with zero fat, just per bones and muscles. Anyways, I went on a whole giant rant. I'm not going to go any more in detail on this because I want to keep this episode short. I'll probably do a part 2 more about calorie intakes and everything else. But as far as when it comes to meal planning overall, the process is super simple to meal plan. You just go get a TDE calculator, fill your calorie intake, get MyFitnessPal or another app that helps you track the food calorie you need to take. Then if you don't have any idea, or if you want to come up with a grocery list of things you can just buy and you want to make it really brain dead and you can keep to this list, use Eat This Much. It'll make a list for you so you can actually just plan out what you want to eat. Protein intake, calorie intake, fats. And then if you don't really want to be that strict, make sure you add your 30 minutes of cardio every day first before you even start doing anything. Track what you currently eat and then see if there's small things you can take out. Give yourself maybe a few weeks before you start making adjustments to spend that time tracking what you order, because you might find out you're actually fine and you're just eating way too many peanut butter sandwiches, or maybe you're using too much olive oil, because olive oil is a ton of calories, Jesus, and peanut butter is a ton of calories also. You might have to just take both those things out and you're way inside your calorie amount, or you might need to add them and you're way above it. Whatever your goal may be, no big deal. So as always, I'm going to always say everything is baby steps. So take your time, work towards what you need to, and then go from there. But besides that, guys, I rambled a lot. If there's a topic you want me to discuss, make sure you message me either on Instagram at the UnknownHobo, or message me if you're listening on YouTube, put in the comments below, and whoever it is. One question is though, let me know what apps you guys use. If any of you guys are in bodybuilding world or trying to meal plan, whatever it be, let me know what you guys use overall for meal planning. And one side note, don't do keto or anything like that. This is a lifelong adventure. Don't do that. I'll see you guys next time, and don't forget to shut the front door.